everybody, it's Lori, and I'm here today with our bookshelf organization reveal. Now, to be fair, we aren't perfectly organized, but this is as good as it's going to get for a little while, so I'm going to share with you some images of what our bookshelves look like now, and I will link up in the cards our bookshelf before so you can see kind of what happened. I kind of lost my mind, and so I think we moved every piece of furniture from upstairs downstairs and every piece of furniture from downstairs upstairs. So, in this process, I got rid of a couple hundred books. Most of those were books that I had listed on paperback swap that just weren't swapping, so I would say probably a good 100 or more were that. And then some were just books that either we didn't enjoy, I had already read and didn't eat anymore. I got rid of about 50% of my cookbooks because let's be real, I mostly get on the internet if I need a recipe. So, you know, I got rid of quite a few books, but we added 3 bookshelves. So, in the end, we actually eliminated a bookshelf altogether. It's a folding bookshelf. I'm not giving it away or anything because I know someday I'm going to be like, I need more bookshelf space and it's going to go up somewhere in the house. And then we no longer have any books in our guest room on that bookshelf. So we really did a good job of kind of bringing it down a little bit. We also ended up, at the time we were started the organization process, I had no idea that our desktop was about to die, but our desktop died. And so we decided that we would go ahead and just move to all laptops because really, who needs a desktop anymore? But that meant that we could move the desk out of our kitchen. So we ended up moving that desk into Charlotte's room. We added a desk in Eva's room. We removed a bookcase from Eva's room and added one to Charlotte's room. They both have kind of small rooms, so not everything fits in them. And then we put a couple of bookshelves in our kitchen where our desk with the desktop used to be. So I do still need to buy probably a third laptop at some point so that we all can have one for school. But for now, I think Charlotte and I are just going to share for a while and see how long we can make do and see if I can find a good deal on a laptop. So without further ado, I'm going to cut to our video footage provided by Eva again. Okay, we're going to start off with this bookshelf that's behind me. This is one you usually see in our videos. So this top shelf has my Catholic Challenge 2019 books and some old books because I like old books. The second shelf has some of my favorites and my husband's favorites. We've got Flannery O'Connor and such for my husband. Then we have my audiobook kind of collection, and these are just some miscellaneous books that didn't fit other places. This is my teaching, homeschooling, kind of parenting kind of shelf. And then audiobooks, I still need to go through that. And then some books about books down there. And then moving into our living room, these 2 shelves have all of our fiction collection. So the side is our adult fiction and classics. So these are actually organized alphabetical by author. Hopefully that lasts a while. It seemed like the best way to be able to find things when we want them. So I did try to cull this down to fit in one shelf, but of course a little bit of overflow ended up in my room on the shelf that you see behind me normally. So we just have a lot of fiction and classic books all in here. So this is just, it's not the prettiest of all organization, but I think it's going to be good for us. And then the other side is all of our YA middle grade kind of fiction stuff. So all the kind of kids books. So you can see we had Alcott through Collins on the first shelf, and we just have, what are we into? Like, E's, Lingle. I guess that would be L's. So you can see Lowry. We just have a bunch of Harry Potter books, of course, Skyward, Green Ember series. And we decided to put the 2 towers, or the Lord of the Rings with the Hobbit. So this coming shelf is all Catholic books. The top shelf is kind of Bible studies and catechisms and things like that. And then we have a bunch alphabetized by author, kind of in the middle. These were really hard because there's so many categories in Catholic books. I went through several different iterations of how to organize. But in the end, for most of the books, we just went alphabetical by author. There is an exception with the top shelf with the Bibles and Bible studies. And then this very bottom shelf is kind of youth books and then also like saints books in collections that didn't have the same author. So that is our whole Catholic shelf there. And then we're going to move in to the kitchen. Now this is where our desk used to be, and the power is out on the day we did this, so it's a little dark. But I do have the Harry Potter illustrated editions. I need some more easels to put them all up top. This is language and math resources for the kids for homeschool. And then the next shelf down is language and art type resources, music, that sort of thing. Also for the kids for school. This next shelf is our school books for the year. So these are kind of the things we'll be using frequently and a few kind of reference books. And then we've got a history and science shelf for the kids. And then the very bottom shelf, I actually have a free shelf. So that's going to have some cords and stuff in that basket just to keep them out of the way, but handy. And then over on the other side, this top shelf has our poetry book collection and also the My Book Houses. I'm missing one. I don't know where it went. And this is my new cookbook collection, much smaller than my old one, and it fit on one shelf, so that was good. Then we have adult history here. Those are alphabetized by author, and then we have kind of miscellaneous adult nonfiction, also alphabetized by author. And then finally, kind of biography memoirs, also alphabetized by author, so those are adult books. This is the bookshelf in Charlotte's room. We got a still shot first because it's hard to see. But I just had her pick some of her favorite books to put in her room, particularly kind of the overflow, because obviously all of our fiction books weren't going to fit where I wanted all of our fiction books to fit. So these are some of her very favorite books in her room. And then finally, this is our bookshelf down in the basement. This is where we have a lot of our younger books, our older school books that I don't want to get rid of, but we don't frequently use. Some like younger readers, all of our little house books. I need to organize this further, but just getting it all into one place was the goal of this time. And then there's a giant Ansel Adams book that just didn't fit anywhere, so it had to go downstairs. And then over here we just have a little more of the same. So that is our bookshelf organization tour. So yeah, it's looking so much better than it looked in the before pictures. I really hope you enjoyed our bookshelf tour. As you can see, we managed to not have anything double stacked, at least for now, so that's nice. And we have the books that we are more likely to use more frequently, closer at hand, and those books that I am keeping out of sentiment or because maybe someday my kids will want them for their kids. Those have kind of moved down into the basement area where we don't spend as much time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like it if you appreciate all the hard work we went to get our books less disastery. And feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of book-related and homeschooling content. And the kids, now that their crazy busy summer is over, might be making more appearances because I know I'm kind of boring by myself. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!